We now welcome UFC featherweight Kyle Nelson. Kyle, thank you for the time, sir.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me.
We will take the first question from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cageside Press.
Hey, Kyle. It took 3 tries, but you finally got that first UFC victory. How much of a relief is it going into this one now that you finally have that first UFC W under your belt?
It feels pretty good. I think it was just about getting my mindset and stuff right. In the first two, obviously the first fight was super short notice, so I didn't really have much time to prepare. And then the second fight, I felt like I prepared really well physically, but mentally I just wasn't in the right space. And for my third UFC fight, I think I had everything dialed in, and obviously performed really well for that one. And I've had a year since then, basically to keep improving, not only physically but mentally. And I feel like I'm only going to be even better now.
I mean, you talk about that. Obviously, there were circumstances, the short notice and the first one and everything else. But, 2 losses, it could be very discouraging for a fighter. I mean, what did you take from those first 2 fights to help yourself improve? And now you're at this point where you did get the victory.
Definitely a lot from the Matt Sales fight. I think I was just a little too over aggressive, trying to maybe be a little too entertaining and searching for the knockout a little too hard. And then in the Polo fight, I just kind of let it come to me. I just went out and fought. How I trained and how I fought before I got into the UFC, and everything came together well. In the Diego Ferreira fight, it was more or less, we got the call on 3 or 4 days, so it was basically just make weight, go in and fight. And but it was my first time fighting in front of a big audience there in Toronto, Canada. I think there was like 20,000 people. So, I got to experience some of that, and the whole routine, that you go through when you're fighting for the UFC. So that's kind of what I learned from that.
How's the training situation changed for yourself since your last fight? I mean, has the pandemic made it easier or harder where you're at personally?
Overall, it's probably made it easier. When the pandemic first hit, everything kind of got locked down. So it was more so I just focused on my physical fitness and stuff. But, COVID and the pandemic's not too bad where I'm from in Canada. So as things started to open up, I was able to get back to training, I think, earlier than a lot of other places, and continue to improve on everything. And when the pandemic was going on, there wasn't much else happening. I didn't have my normal errands to run around and do, and normal everyday stuff. So I was able to focus even more on training.
Final question. What is your assessment of Billy Quarantillo as an opponent?
I think he's a good opponent. Well-rounded. Definitely. I think he's his best on the ground. But yeah, I think he's a little more of a survivor, not really a killer. I don't think he poses a lot of danger to me. I think his best bet is to try and take me down and try and ride out a boring decision win. But I'm not going to let him do that.
Okay, thank you, Kyle. Good luck.
Thank you.
And we will take our next questions from Gavin Porter with UFC.com.
What's up, man? So you can still just look at.
Yeah.
So you're fighting Billy, who's on a pretty good streak, and if you were to get the win over him, do you think that you could be able to capture some of that momentum that he's been building up, and the success that he's had in UFC would be a good victory for you?
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of what I'm looking to do. Kind of steal the hype. He's got some hype behind him, and I can go in there and extinguish that hype and kind of take it for myself. Even when I took that, the short nose fight against Sean Woodson that unfortunately fell through, it was kind of the same game plan. He was undefeated and coming in on a big tear, and I was ready to steal that hype. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, so now we're just going to go ahead and steal all of Billy's hype.
You get that opportunity on the main card this time, and when you're opening the main card like this, do you view this as an opportunity for you to kind of get more eyes on you than maybe you have had in the past?
I'm just going to go about it every other fight, whether it's on the main card, the prelims, or the main event. I'm going to do the exact same thing. So there's no point in me focusing too much on how many viewers there's going to be and how many people are watching. I'm just going to go in and knock them out the same.
When you've been away from the octagon for this whole plus year, what have you missed most about competing, and what are you most excited for to get in there and do on Saturday?
Definitely. I miss a lot about competing. That's that's why I train. That's what keeps me motivated. That's why I'm up every day early to run. So without that, you would almost, the fire actually, grew bigger, waiting for another fight. And yeah, there was a bit of frustration, but, I just kept training harder and harder and harder. And I knew when the time did come, I would just be even better. So the improvements I've made in this last year have been amazing, and nobody's going to be able to kind of see that coming. So I'm very excited to get back in there.
When you have kind of that frustration and that fire built up, does that kind of mean we're going to see an explosive version of this Kyle coming out on that first round?
You're always going to see an explosive version of Kyle. I come with the power, the speed, the strength, and if anything lands on Billy, that'll be it. So I got power in my hands, both my feet, my knees, my elbows. Everything's coming with a lot of heat on it. So Billy's got a lot to be scared about.
What does a statement victory look like for you? What do you envision your statement being on Saturday?
I would love a one-punch knockout and then just walk away. Finish them nice and early, get in and out, not get hurt, and be ready to jump on another opportunity if something comes up real soon.
Perfect, man. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you on Saturday.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kyle. That is all the time we had for you, sir.
Awesome. Thanks a lot.